1 has been changed to a non-published number.
Warning, the following show contains conservative posturing, radical Christian ideas, and may offend pagans, Wiccans, Islamic fundamentalists, and other unenlightened individuals. Callers and guests may be subjected to brash and offensive comments by the hosts and any other type of bullying tactics available. But that's okay. We know why you're here.
This concludes this test of the emergency broadcast system.
Tonight is Monday, June 2nd, 2008.
What's up, those that woe to? This is Jay Scott, your only JDDJ on the OmniSound Radio 1 network.
This is D. Clements.
That's right, a familiar voice in the world of the Unexplained.
Yeah. Sitting in for Trent Lackey tonight.
And I'm sitting in for myself and Chuck Browder tonight.
Hey, this is not fair, man. I'm doing 3 jobs.
I know, I'm doing 1, well, 2. I don't know what I'm doing. Wow. Tonight we've got Dr. Rich Anders. He's going to be coming back on World of the Unexplained. And so, Rich, if you're listening now, just give us a call on our 800 line, and we'll get you plugged in. Anyway, but before we start with Dr. Anders, what do we got?
We got some little weird tidbits here.
Weird tidbits. An artist claims Yeti scalp in the Himalayas. Apparently, that's today, man.
Yeah, that's news. You know,
that's right up to the minute, man.
That's
UPI.
right.
A British artist claims a sketch she made of a legendary Yeti was based on an alleged witnessed accounts and a scalp that she saw at a monastery in the Himalayas. That's amazing.
And the weirdest place in a monastery.
Yeah. Huh. It was bigger than any human or ape scalp I have ever seen, Pickering said. Tufts of reddish black fur coming out of it, mounted on a pole, and seen as a holy relic.
Yeah, and apparently it's going to be on display, or her depiction or picture will be on display.
Well, we want to see the real deal, man. We don't want to see no sketch.
But I think it's like on June the 9th, isn't that what it says?
I'm looking...
down at the bottom there.
Yeah, gallery, June 9th in Ochre, England. Wherever that is. Where's Ochre at?
I have no idea where Ochre's at.
Let's see here. A zoo, free admission for Mohawk haircuts. Melbourne, Florida. Of course, it's going to be in Florida, right?
Yeah.
Visitors are sporting mohawks resembling the manes of warty pigs. Will get in free during Father's Day weekend. Oh my!
There was also another article that I didn't put in there. I thought it was a little morbid. Apparently, there was a gentleman in South Africa who was worked in the lions den
Cage,
at the zoo, and apparently he was eaten alive.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, all they found were a few fingers and some entrails, and that was it.
Well, they didn't eat the fingers, now?
No. Apparently 6 lions ate the lion.
Oh my gosh, that's awful. Maybe he was mean to him.
I don't know.
Iowa man says he planned a compost pot, not smoke it. Apparently in Iowa City, they caught a man with a bunch of marijuana, and he claimed that he was just recycling it, turning it into compost.
Compost, yeah, just recycling.
Yeah, he was arrested early Saturday with over a gallon or more of marijuana each. that was the bags that he had. He didn't buy the compost. The officer didn't buy the compost story. The suspect is in jail on a $14,000 bond on the charge of possession with intent to distribute.
All he was trying to do was recycle.
I know, man. He's being green, dude.
Yeah.
Ain't that the thing?
Yeah, just being green. Hey, isn't that the thing that the cops do anyway when they find large stashes? Don't they just
recycle it to their phones? No, I'm kidding.
Burn it in the middle of the day?
That's right. Burn it. Police nabbed dead turkey when responding to break-in.
I thought this was hilarious.
Let's see. They discovered a dead turkey when they responded to a break-in into business. An officer was conducting regular patrol on Sunday morning, and she spotted that one of the windows of one of the businesses she was patrolling was broken. And thinking it was a break-in, she entered the store trying to catch the guy, but found out that there was a 10-pound turkey lying dead on the table. They believe that the turkey died after hitting the window of the business.
And then there's
my favorite. I was saving the best for last. Border Patrol bust man for Jesus statue made of cocaine. Oh, my my God. High on Jesus. There's nothing like it. A 61-year-old man arrested trying to cross the border with a Jesus statue made of cocaine.
It's just, man.
Oh, my gosh.
I
No,
saw
wait
that.
a minute. He didn't carry it. Apparently, according to this, God, Lord, there was a woman that he gave some money to carry 2 religious statues over the Mexican border. And she led the police to him. She didn't know that the statue was made of drugs. And she invited the cops to follow her. How nice. To where she was going to drop them off at. And that's where they found our 61-year-old man. And he was charged with cocaine importation, possession with intent to distribute cocaine, and conspiracy. The dogs who sniffed the statues found one of the statues was entirely made out of cocaine.
And I'm just curious. I'm wondering how big these statues actually
I'm wondering.
are.
I am. They estimated street value at $30,000. So, God, can you imagine a guy with a Jesus statue made of cocaine?
No,
I mean, that's just crazy. That is just crazy. Just the mental image that just. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
What? It's a religious relic. What are you talking about?
It'll get you high on God, man. High on Jesus. High on Jesus. Praise the Lord. Oh my gosh. That's some crazy stuff, man.
I thought you might like those.
I did. I enjoy that. Oh my gosh. 877-722-7382. That's 877-SCARE-U2. Toll free in the United States and Canada, and locally at 336-996-1596. Give us a call and let us know what you're thinking. I don't know, maybe you've got some better ideas as far as cocaine importation across the Mexican border. No, I'm kidding. But it's just crazy.
We do not condone
We do not condone that, no. The possession, sale, manufacture,
and importation
or importation of cocaine or drugs.
Get that disclaimer out of the way.
You know, when I went to Jamaica, they had this little sheet that you have to fill out when you get off the plane. You know, you tell them what you're bringing into the country. And so, you know, you want to answer like no to all the questions. That's kind of the idea, you know, right? You know, are you bringing any fruit? You know, are you bringing, you know, the kind of stuff.
No.
You know what I'm saying, though.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the questions was, are you bringing narcotics? And I'm like, yeah. Because I was. I mean,
that's right. I forgot.
You know, I had my surgery
had
on
your
my
surgery
mouth.
And you were bringing in your pain medicine.
Yeah, and I was bringing my pain medication, and they were a narcotic drug. And so I checked the yes box. You know me. I'm expecting some trouble out of these guys, too, so I'm going to mess with them a little bit. But I did bring the medication with me. And, you know, they didn't even, you know, I even got in the right line that says, you know, if you check yes to any of these, get in the red line. Right? So I'm in the red line. No one else is in the red line.
Were you all in one in there?
Well, you know, my wife was with me. But, I mean, other than that, no one else is in the red line. Everybody else is, you know, they're like cattle, man. They're pushing us out of there. Because it's a tourist spot, you know.
And everybody's probably looking at you going,
what's that guy doing?
what did he check on yes?
Oh, well, you know, I mean, but no, nobody's, they're like, no, you know, they're all like pushing me away. They're like, no, sir, you need to go down there. And I'm like, but, okay. You know, so I went down to the other line and I got cattle herded through like everybody else did. They never once questioned the narcotics thing. So we go back home and I'm like, surely somebody's going to look at this card, you know, fill out another one. But I'm like, surely somebody is going to stop me on the way out of the country.
No.
See, that's where it's going to happen. Because, see, that's always where it happens, man. I've got busted in Canada. I've got busted in Germany. Every time I try to come back in the United States, somebody wants to mess with me. For nothing. But they want to mess with me.
Y'all got busted in Canada for
Okay,
the
that was partially
weirdest
my
thing.
fault.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, they ask if we had any. Well, this is pre 9/11. You have to understand this is like 1995. They're like, do you have any drugs, guns, or something else? You know, and I'm like, you know, we're a bunch of kids. We're like 19. I look over, you know, I'm in the back seat of the van, big van. We were up there, me and Trent and Derek. And so I look over at Trent and I say, Trent, and he said, yeah. I said, do you have the guns and the coke? He's like, oh yeah, man. So I look back over and I'm like, no. Nonetheless, after a 3-hour break in New York at the Border Patrol, after you know, all of our clothes were searched and the van was searched thoroughly,
and then to try to go back and go, no, I was just kidding.
Oh yeah, and you tell them that, and they're like, well, yeah. So, well, here's what you get for kidding. I can only imagine what would happen to someone that did that post 9/11.
But see, the whole Jamaica thing,
yeah,
they're not going to stop you.
No, they didn't. They want the
And you know
tourist
why?
money. Yeah,
Well,
they want the tourist
not only
money.
that, but you're white.
Dude, everybody's white that goes into, well,
Exactly.
not everybody. No,
But
let me
that's
take
what
that
I'm
back.
saying.
We did see a lot of black people going over there for vacation, too.
Oh, yeah.
But everybody in Jamaica, I didn't see one native person there. Not, obviously I didn't go through the whole place, but I didn't see one native there that was white.
Yeah.
Everybody's black.
Well, dude, that's like when I went through customs and when my wife and I moved to England. When we came back, and we were actually going, I think we were going back to England to filter us through into the actual, where you go through all your they check your passports and all that stuff.
Yeah, the customs.
Dude, we go through customs. They totally split us all up.
Really?
Every white person went to this line.
Oh my God! If we did that in America, you know what would happen?
Every black.
Oh, the ACLU
Hispanic,
would come down on you so hard. What country was this?
Asian. This was in Europe, man. This was in
They're the
England.
socialist empire
Yeah.
out there. What's
Dude,
up with that?
Dude, they all got shifted to a whole nother section.
Oh my god!
And we just went straight on through. No problem.
That might be our guest, actually. But it was just an odd situation to think I'm going to get something's going to happen to me again. Something's going to definitely come down the line when you're going through the whole process. So it didn't happen. It didn't. Everything worked out okay, and we didn't get stopped. And obviously, I didn't make any comments that would get me stopped, especially nowadays. But everything went okay. The one problem I did have is once we came back to America, we had to go through the whole process again, where it was just a bad deal. Just a bad deal. But things happen. I think that going through through one customs first and then having to get out and go through it again is kind of crap. But it happens.
Yeah.
So you got our guest on the line?
Yes, sir.
Can we call him back?
Well, I figure what we'll do is
No, run him until
we'll
the
run
okay.
until the break, and then we'll,
I just think
get
we
his
get a
number
better
and
the other line. I think
Yeah.
it's probably better for the guest. Okay, well let's bring him on. Rich Anders. Rich, how's it going, man?
Well, it's going fine. What's up?
We're doing great, man. Good to have you on.
Oh, yeah. Do you want me to turn off my...
Oh yeah,
Yeah, if you
please
could.
do. We can hear us in the background.
Okay, well, let's bring him on. Rich Anders.
All right.
Oh, it's going fine.
Nothing like that 2-minute delay.
That's right. That sounds more than less than a 2-minute delay there.
Okay, it's turned off.
All right,
All
very
right.
good. How you been, man?
Very, very busy.
What's been going on, Rich?
I had to do my interrogatories,
Oh no, the dreaded lawsuit.
and it was a lot more work than I thought it would be.
I
But
can understand
today,
that.
today we are finished, and tomorrow we are going to send it out just within the 30 days time frame. So we are very relieved. It will be a great relief when we have it out of the house.
I understand that. I understand. Right. Well, on a non-lawsuit related note, how have things been?
Well, nothing, because I'm so busy with it that I don't do anything else, except, of course, the usual things in the house and the garden. We had to sow and plant our garden, and now I just had the first dinner with snow peas from our garden.
Oh wow!
Oh, wow.
First harvest, but we already have harvested a lot of strawberries. So this is going to be a good year, contrary to last year, where we had a big problem with the water, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
This year things are just shooting out of the earth. I expect a very good gardening season.
Oh, good. We're happy to hear that. What do you think about what's going on now with the politics, man? The political climate in the U.S. with this whole Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton thing.
That's a joke.
Yeah, I agree, but who do you think's going to win this thing? You think they're going to actually nominate Barack Obama?
I'm afraid that this will happen. I think that there's something on which we cannot look through, and it looks very much to me that Obama is going to be the candidate of the Democrats.
Yeah,
Of course, when he goes against McCain, anything can happen. But I have a pretty good idea how you can Obama make a real good front runner. You know, if you go and find somebody who spends the money on a nice TV spot, you can present Obama and his team, you know, with his wife Michelle as the Secretary of Justice, and his pastor Wright as Vice President.
Oh, there we go.
And Jesse Jackson is Secretary of State, and who else is there? Oh, yeah, Al Sharpton is Secretary
There you go,
of
Al
State.
Sharpton.
And then you make the whole team stand in front of the White House, and above it you have a picture of Obama, and then you see in the background he says, "We are going to enjoy to turn the White House black," and then you see the black color slowly running down the White House and turning it black. And while this happened, the face of Obama turns into a devil's face, you know, with horns and a long red tongue, and he says, "This is gonna be fun."
Oh my gosh!
If you put this on the air, I think even McCain has a chance to win.
I do hope McCain wins. I'm not a Barack Obama supporter by any means.
Yeah.
Or
Hillary, but you know, I've really been rooting for Hillary here recently because I really wanted to see her pick up that nomination.
Well, I think there are things at work that we can't look through, and I think it's possible that Obama will be our next president.
Yeah, don't tell me that now.
Yeah, I'm quite apprehensive about it.
Right in Ross Perot.
Because you know, weirder things have happened than that. But in German there's a saying: show me your friends and I show you who you are. Well, look at Obama's friends.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, people here don't look at his friends, because if they would look at his friends, they would turn away from him in horror. Instead, they celebrate him like a rock star. I mean, I think the devil shit in her head, so that they cannot think clearly.
But do you think he's a Muslim?
No, I think he's just bad news. I mean, I think he would be worse than Jimmy Carter.
Oh wow, that's saying something.
Because Jimmy Carter at least was, a governor before he became president, but this guy was nothing. All he can do is lash out at Bush and talk about a change where he doesn't say where the change would lead. But I have an idea it would lead, and I just pointed out that his future cabinet could give you an idea what it will be like.
Oh man.
So I don't understand how people can be so thoughtless.
I don't either. I think that the Bush presidency has made a lot of people upset, and they want a Democrat candidate for no other reason. I think is part of it.
Well, the thing is that the Bush made this very unpopular Iraq war, and it's not his fault, because he went in, he did away with a bad guy, and then the people that he liberated from the bad guy turned out to be bad guys themselves.
Yeah, well,
nobody anticipated that. But let's not talk politics. It's too boring. I have better topics tonight for you.
Okay. What you got?
Well, we can talk about evolution.
Okay.
And well, let me start. Are you ready for the topic yet? Then we can start.
Well, actually, we're going to take a short break before we get on the topic, Rich. We're going to actually call you back too in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's good.
And after our break, we'll call you back and we'll get you on the line at your number. Do you have his number,
No.
D? Okay, I'm going to put you on hold, and D's going to grab your number, and we're going to call you back. So stick around, guys. You're listening to World of the Unexplained. Dr. Rich Anders is our guest tonight. We'll be right back. And we're back at World of the Unexplained tonight with our guest, Dr. Rich Anders. We're going to be talking about evolution. Rich.
Yeah.
What do you got for us?
Well, just a second.
Okay.
If you'd like to talk with Rich tonight, you
I
can give
think
us a
that
call.
the topic evolution is very up to date, because there's a big discussion going on between people who think that Darwin is the one who knew it all, and others who think that the intelligent design is much better, and there's a lot of confusion out there. There's one guy, a very intelligent one, by the way, by the name of Ben Stein, who made a movie about that. And, well, I think I can say a few things to sort of disperse the fog about this topic.
Okay.
So are you ready to listen?
I'm ready. Go for it.
Well, you know, I advise something to all of you. Sit down. What you're going to hear tonight is not, it might just throw you off.
Okay.
First of all, Darwin is a good man, and he found something very important, except he gave it the wrong name. Because what he found was, he should have called it the theory of adaptation.
Okay.
It means that species under different circumstances evolve in a different direction, but that's not evolution as it really is, as I'm going to explain a little later. It's just that animals and just adapt to the circumstances of life and slowly change a little, but not much. The real evolution is more along the line that J. Elliott Gould of the American History of Natural, something like that, American Natural History Museum in New York.
Uh-huh.
You should know the name. Help me out.
Yeah, American. It's the American. What is
Museum of Natural History.
Museum of Natural History.
Why don't you say it? Can you turn your sound a little louder? I barely hear you.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't speaking in the microphone directly. Go ahead.
Okay. So Gould and his peers up at the American Museum of Natural History came up with the idea that there's something called a punctuated equilibrium, which means in plain English that for eons of time, or at least very long time, species, they stay the same, and then all of a sudden there's a jump, and they present themselves in an advanced form. And he got a point there. He doesn't know why this is happening, and the theory that they have is not completely worked out because they lack a few fundamental informations. What it really is that there's a trigger for this jump in evolution. And in order to know what how it can come about, you have to know what can trigger that jump in evolution and why it is triggered. I give an example. You obviously are familiar with a species called Smilodon or saber-toothed cats.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Smilodons are the coat of arms animal of California because there were so many found in the La Brea tar pits. Now, there's a little bit of divergent opinion among the paleontologists. One I saw on TV, it was actually Children Discover channel that I happened to channel hop into, and this guy said that these saber-toothed cats appeared first about 20 million years ago. And at first, the saber-toothed cats were about the size of like a house cat of ours, about 50% bigger, and then they evolved. They disappeared from the fossil record to come back again, disappeared, came back, and that happened 10 times, and every time they came back, they were bigger, until they finally were the formidable animal called Smilodon, which people think that 10,000 years ago it died out and it became extinct.
Okay.
Now, I have even an example of a cat that has a little bit of saber teeth because our cat Cindy has the teeth outside her mouth. You can see those two long teeth in front of her mouth, and that's why we call her Smilodon. Because she's close to Smilodon, but she farts a lot. So,
Okay.
so we have our own Smilodon here in the house. And well, Cindy is a nice cat. She knows that she's supposed to stay away from us if she does that. So
that's good.
that's a nice Smilodon. Anyway, to get back to our real saber-toothed cats, there's another paleontologist who is Shaw. His name is, I think, Rick Shaw or something like that. And he is working at the Page Museum in Los Angeles. And he's some think that he is the foremost expert on saber-toothed cats in the world. And he thinks that these leaps of evolution of the saber-toothed cats happened only 4 times as it can be proven.
Okay.
He thinks that the 10 times are a little bit weak, if you try to prove it, but 4 times is absolutely certain. Of course, he knows about the 4 times. He knows about everything that there is to be known about saber-toothed cats. But he does not really know why these leaps of evolution happen and when and how. Because in order to know about these things, you have to go in a totally different direction than paleontology. You have to go and look at a guy, I think his first name is Ed, by the name of Professor Schultz, who about 4 or 5 months ago came out with a movie called Mammoth, and he tried to prove that the extinction of the mammoth took place 13,000 years ago when a giant impact from space devastated the northern hemisphere.
Okay.
Now, he established a connection between impact or a natural catastrophe and the disappearance of those animals. Unfortunately, I didn't know that he was a lead scientist in this mammoth project, and I happened to run across him or to meet him on the phone about a week before that, and I thought I had looked it up on the internet, and I thought that another scientist by the name of Firestone, who was very much involved in the project, was the lead of the gang. And I thought that Schultz was just telling me about it, and I gave him my ideas about it.
Okay.
And that was not a good idea. I think I really ruined his moment of triumph.
No.
Because I told him that, I'm absolutely sure that they, with a scientific method, can prove that there was an impact 13,000 years ago. But it was not what caused the extinction of the megafauna, mammoth and other mastodon and other animals like this. Because the extinction at that time, which is a very difficult one to even look at because it has so many facets, took place in 2 stages. First, you had we really had an impact from space, which was not over Canada, as they say, but I believe it hit where now the Bering Sea is. Because otherwise, the phenomenon of the Alaskan muck and of the Liakov bone islands in front of on the continental shelf in front of Siberia would not be, one could not explain it. So there was definitely an impact, which, in my opinion, caused a jump of the poles. And that caused this mass dying of all these animals in Siberia and in Alaska and actually in the northern hemisphere, because a jump of the poles brings
polar shift. Yeah, it brings a new ice age to certain parts once they realign.
Well, essentially, it changes the location of the poles and the location of the climate.
Sure.
And the indication that this happened is that when there was a group of French scientists, they checked out in Siberia what really killed the mammoth and the woolly rhinos, and to their surprise, they found out that they suffocated. Now, when I talked to Ed Schultz, I said to him, and I don't think that these animals were strangled by Ice Age hunters.
Sure.
And that did not come across too well, because just before that he had told me that the current theory is that the appearance of humans was too much for all those animals, and they killed them all. Well, so that was one more who didn't like me. Even though I think he's a terrific guy, I really like him, and I'm really sorry that the feeling is not mutual.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, it rarely is with me. I'm used to that.
Oh man, but yeah, you make a good point though. These animals that they're finding, and they're full specimens, like they were frozen alive.
That's exactly it. And they were, they were frozen not only alive, they were frozen instantly.
Yeah, and that's why when you extract them, they're whole because they've been preserved all this time.
Yeah,
And they wind up finding plant life from that era whenever they were frozen, still underneath the animal.
Yeah, well, there were animals who were found still with not only with undigested food in their stomachs, but with food in their mouth that they could not either spit out or eat because the freezing process was so fast.
Wow. Yeah, but how would that happen? I mean, how would that come about as far as the freezing process coming that quickly?
It is easy to understand. In all those documentaries where those naive scientists who don't know too much about these things present their views, they said the temperature, even if it's 60 below zero in Fahrenheit, is not enough to defreeze these animals instantly. What they totally overlook is that defreezing and the speed of defreezing depends on two factors, not on one. One is the temperature. But the second one is the wind speed.
Sure.
So if you want to deep freeze, let's say dumplings, as I did in a factory I once owned and ran, if you deep freeze dumplings without and the ventilator falls out for whatever reason, it takes 5 times as long until those dumplings become deep frozen.
Sure.
Now, if you have a jump of the poles, you have a change of climate from one instant to the next. Let's say from a subtropical climate like in Siberia, those plants in the mouth of those mammals indicated that they were in temperate or subtropical climate. So the change in climate and in temperature is one thing, but the other thing is that an impact like that causes tremendously fast winds. And Professor Schultz told me, because I discussed it with him while he was still talking to me, that the wind speeds were around 500 to 600 miles per hour, 3 times more than the fastest hurricanes, or 4 times more than the fastest hurricanes.
Wow.
Now,
is that due to the shock wave from the impact?
Yes. Now, have you ever been in a hurricane?
No, but I've been in a tornado.
Well, I've been, unfortunately, on the outer bands of one before I left Florida last time.
Okay, well, I have been in 6 hurricanes.
Oh, my gosh.
And one was really bad. I mean, it really clobbered and destroyed our house. 2 were bad, but, was just damaged, did not really destroy the house.
You were in your house when they hit?
Yeah, it was when I lived in St. Thomas. Maryland hit us real bad. And the thing is, also, before Maryland, there was, I think it was Louis. And Louis the center was 80 miles away from St. Thomas, but it was a 500 miles diameter hurricane. So we still had hurricane force wind in St. Thomas, and we had something very strongly, which happens with hurricanes and strong winds, which is wind pockets that race by at very high speed. Now, when they race by, they can push your windows inside. But behind every wind pocket, there is a vacuum. And that pulls your windows outside.
Oh.
Now, if those animals in Siberia experience these winds very, very high, these wind pockets racing by simply sucked the air out of their lungs in milliseconds. And the deep temperature and the high winds that follow defroze them instantly.
Yeah, because of the vacuum.
What?
Because of the vacuum sucking the air out of their lungs, and it's being that cold, it basically would have frozen their insides first, and then frozen the outside of the creature, right?
Well, you just can you talk a little louder?
Oh, that's D. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
What I was saying is that by the vacuum happening, by sucking out all the oxygen out of their lungs, it actually would have basically froze their internal organs first and then would have started to freeze the actual outside of the animal.
Everything deep froze instantly at the same time, I believe. I have no proof of it, but I believe because the temperatures were so low and the winds were so high. But you just made a very strong point, because that's what usually scientists say. I mean, how is it possible that such massive animals are deep frozen so fast? It's not possible, because then they come with those experts from some meatpacking plant in I don't know, Chicago, where they are, and they say, well, it takes time this long to freeze from the outside in, and it takes this long, and that's why what happened to these animals is not possible. But you just made the point. So it is possible.
Yeah. Well, here's my question: Where are all these humans that were deep frozen? Or have they found any remains of any human beings?
There were no humans during the time of the megafauna.
Okay.
So because of this impact, and you can see all over the world, well, not all over the world, but all over the northern hemisphere, animals died because of this impact. And when you, at least it's in a book that I read, I hope he's right, that the author makes a very interesting remark. He says, all those animals, wherever they are, their behind points towards the north, and their front points towards the southeast, southwest, south, depending where they are in a circle around a certain area where one can extrapolate that the impact took place. And from this, what we see is that the impact must have been in the north. And my opinion is it was in the Bering Sea.
Okay.
So that takes care of the mass dying of all these animals of the megafauna, which is documented by the finds of mammals and woolly rhinoceroses in Siberia, and also of the animals we find in the Alaskan muck. Do you know what that is?
What's that?
Alaskan muck are huge beds, hundreds of kilometers in extension, near Fairbanks in Alaska, where all kinds of animals are intermingled. I mean, and dismembered. And they are intermingled with vegetation, with trees, and even with marine animals and marine vegetation.
Huh.
What must have happened is that a huge wave, so big and powerful that it came from the sea and all the way went into the interior of Alaska, because Fairbanks is at the center,
Right.
and took along all the vegetation and all the animals and deposited them there in a mangled mess of bodies, which partly are still undisturbed, and which are the richest source of information about animals of that catastrophe. Because in Alaska, the Alaskan muck is known, and for instance, when they do roads and they construct roads and the bulldozers go through it, the deep temperatures up north have preserved the meat and all that, but when they are being exposed to the air, rumor has it that these animals still smell, and they rot and decompose, and the smell can be smelled for miles.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, so that's a very, very interesting thing. Now that took care of the animals in the north of the planet.
Okay.
Of most of them.
Sure.
And the other thing is that at the same time, animals of the megafauna, they've disappeared all over the planet at the same time. It wasn't a question of years or decades or months. At the same instant, they disappeared. You could see the huge animals in the Caribbean and even the giant kangaroos in Australia, all over the world. At the same time, animals disappeared. And that could not have happened because of an, let's say, asteroid impact.
Uh-huh.
Because the asteroid impact just impacted the northern hemisphere. South of the equator didn't do much. So something else and much more dramatic, even more dramatic than this this impact from an asteroid must have happened. And here we go into a field which is even less known, or is not known at all, because here we go into the field of changes of dimensions and changes of worlds. Did you finally read the book from Michio Kaku I recommended to you several times?
I have not, Rich. I've been so covered up, I don't read much at all outside of work.
Yeah, shame on you. Because you're dealing with this area, you should know about it. It's a really big and important book.
Okay.
Now, Michio Kaku claims that there are many, many parallel worlds. It's generally known that all the famous, and actually everybody in the field of theoretical physics now believes that there are parallel universes.
Sure.
Now, Michio Kaku is the only one that I know of who says, yeah, parallel universe is fine, but there are parallel worlds. And he makes a reasoning for it, which is very good. And that's as much as he understands about it. What really the situation is that parallel worlds are a reality, and they are really a horrible reality. You understand why if I continue talking, which I will.
Well, we're gonna stop you on that note, Rich. We're gonna take our second break of the night, though. If you'll, yeah.
Did it scare you?
No, not yet. but so far so good, man. I'm keeping track here. It's I'm following you, and it's good stuff so far.
Are you recording?
Oh yeah.
You still owe me the recording of my last interview.
I know. We're going to get that up soon. We're definitely going to do that.
Yeah.
But right now, we're going to take a break. You're listening to Dr. Rich Anders on World of the Unexplained. We're going to be right back after this. And welcome back to World of the Unexplained. Tonight we have Dr. Rich Anders with us.
If you'd like to give us a call at 1-877-722-7382. That's toll free. It's 1-877-SCARE-YOU-2 or locally 336-996-1596.
That's right, Dr. Anders. We'll take your questions. Rich, how you doing, man?
Okay.
Okay, now let's get into this whole parallel universe thing. I want to hear about this.
Well, the parallel universe, if you want to hear about that before I go into the parallel worlds...
Oh, parallel worlds, excuse me. I'm sorry.
No, you have a very valid question because you may not know... the visible part of the universe, the one that we can make out of, is only 4%.
Okay.
And there was a big, it's a long story, and I do it very shortly.
Okay.
Various researchers have found, for instance, Vera Rubin of the Carnegie Foundation, that the stars in galaxies like the Andromeda, our neighbor, are spinning too fast to be kept together with a gravity that we can account for with a visible mass in those galaxies. So from that point on, there was a lot of research, and finally, there was a run of the astrophysicists, and they found out that there's invisible matter or invisible energy, and they developed a standard model which says that the 4% is visible, and 21% is invisible matter, and 75% is invisible energy, hence the terms dark matter and dark energy.
Okay.
Now, if you account for the fact that there are parallel universes, one might be inclined to think that, well, if our universe that we see is 4% of all the mass necessary to hold the galaxies together, then theoretically there are 24 other universes that we don't see, but which are here and which exert gravitational pull to hold the galaxies together. So that's a very simplified view of the question of the parallel universes.
Okay.
Now, let's leave the parallel universes because that's understandably a huge topic.
Sure.
Let's keep it a little bit more simple. Let's go to to parallel worlds.
Okay, parallel worlds then.
Michio Kaku claims that there must be an infinite number of parallel worlds, and that's all he knows about it. What I found about it is very disconcerting because these parallel worlds are something different than parallel planets. A planet is the physical entity, and we are living in the physical entity of the planet. But a world is the situation during a specific period of time on the surface of a planet, in between two breakdowns of the electromagnetic field. Now that requires an explanation, I assume.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have a hit, for instance, from an asteroid, now we are back at the Bering Sea, that creates an explosion which is incredibly strong, and it adds an immense amount of energy to the planet at a specific location,
Sure.
supercharging the electromagnetic field in that location.
Okay.
Now, electromagnetic fields have a tendency, if they are unstable, they break down, but they reconstitute instantly afterwards in a different configuration. Now, that electromagnetic field has magnetic poles, and if the deviation from the former location is too much for the geographic poles, they follow suit, and they jump location. That's the reason why poles jump. Do you understand that?
No, you're going to have to back up for me.
Okay. If you have an immense amount of energy
Released, okay.
supercharging the electromagnetic field in one specific local spot,
Okay.
that creates a disequilibrium for that electromagnetic field.
Okay.
It breaks down to adjust to the new situation.
Oh, okay. I follow you now.
Yeah?
I follow you now. Yeah, okay.
And it reconstitutes in a new configuration, and you know that the magnetic poles are one thing and the geographic poles are something else.
Okay.
Now, when the magnetic poles deviate too much from the geographic poles, since energy leads matter, the geographic poles jump as well.
Okay.
And that happens in a fraction of a second, in zero time actually.
Sure. Okay.
Because the jump, you know about the oscillation of matter.
Mm-hmm.
Did I ever tell you about this?
I believe so.
Well, matter is rigid, and if it wouldn't oscillate, we would be just like this princess that got turned into stone, and only when the prince came and kissed her, she was movable again.
Okay.
So the analogy is that, like in a movie, when you have different frames in successive stages, which give you the illusion of matter moving, just the same we have in the real world of matter, only that the oscillations are much faster.
Okay.
So if you, for instance, go from you get up and you go to the fridge to get something to eat because you're hungry, it's not really your body that goes there. Your body, it materializes along the way that your energy takes in very fast successive stages, and that gives you the illusion that your body moves, which is all we know, because we only have that illusion. We don't see the energy phase because we don't live in it physically.
Okay. Oh, that makes sense.
Okay. So did I lose you? Well,
No,
anyway.
we follow you.
We're following
Anyway, so when the electromagnetic field breaks down, it's an energy event. If it reconstitutes, it forms and reconstitutes in one energy oscillation phase, in one phase. The change of the geographic poles also follows the energy's lead and takes place in one timeless moment. That's why jumps over the poles don't take place over years or months or days. They take place in zero time. And now we are back at the mammoth in Siberia. Since it takes place in zero time, the mammoth, who in one moment were in a subtropical environment feeding, and the So the Beresovka mammoth must have had some nice thoughts at that moment because he was deep frozen with an erection. And that's not a joke that I make. You can look it up at the internet.
Wow.
So that proves my point that this change takes place in zero time.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it?
Sure.
Now, that takes place for those jumps of the poles. But that does not explain parallel worlds. And now we are back to where we started out, where we actually stopped before the break.
Okay.
Parallel worlds are the conditions on a planet between two breakdowns of the electromagnetic field. Because if the electromagnetic field breaks down and the poles change, a totally different climate becomes distributed all over the planet. Now, when there is thousands of years later or 10,000 of years later another impact like this and the electromagnetic field breaks down, again the poles jump. And you have again different climate zones. And here you have the explanation. Well, all over the place, all over the planet, you find traces of glaciation, even in the tropics. It's not that you have ice times. That's real stupid. What you have is jumps of the poles and a change in the location of the polar ice caps.
Yeah, that would make an ice, a polar age kind of dumb if you think about it.
Yeah.
Because, the sun's always in the same relative location of the Earth. The Earth has to orbit the sun.
Good thinking. So if we go back to this, you know that Europe and North America experienced an ice age. It was not that the whole planet became engulfed by ice, but the pole at that time, and there's some studies about it, was somewhere near the Hudson Bay.
And it shifted.
And it shifted. And then it shifted back to where it is now, and that because it shifted at the time when the pole was near the Hudson Bay, that was when you had in Siberia a temperate and subtropical climate.
Well, here's my question, Rich. When is there a specific cycle of time when these shifts occur?
Yeah.
And when's the next one?
In 4 years.
Excuse me?
In 4 years.
Oh, in 4 years.
Yeah.
Why don't you give me a better number, like, I don't know, 40 million would be better for me.
Well, you see, the thing is, I was puzzled by the whole thing when I discovered it. You're going to be shocked when I tell you how short the time frames are.
Okay.
Well, let's first go back to the change of the world. So.
Wait a minute. Let me ask you this real quick. If you're talking about 4 years, that's the 2012 date of the Mayan calendar. Did they have this figured out too?
That's what I'm alluding to.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
I need to start buying and stocking up on winter clothes.
Well, no. Well, can you? Well, the next question is, can you predict what the shift's going to be like, and where would be a good place to be when it happens?
Oh yeah, you just go and read my book, God's Ultimate Task.
Okay.
It's written down there in very clear language. That's why I told you I am the greatest prophet ever lived. Which of course made you simple minds laugh a lot and have a good time because you couldn't imagine that it's true, but it's true.
So what is a good place, though, off the top? Just tell our listeners what one of the good places would be to be.
Siberia.
It's useless where you are because it will be a change of world.
Okay.
Which means that if you are in a good place, like, let's say, in South Carolina or wherever you are.
Yeah, we're in North Carolina.
Change of world, after the change of world, you will be in a totally different environment.
Yeah.
So useless, you cannot prepare for it.
Okay.
Because you're taken into a different world.
Immediately.
And that brings back to, now we are touching your favorite topic, when Jesus said, my kingdom is not of this world. What he was talking about is a parallel world, his world, which is a parallel world.
Okay.
So if you qualify to be admitted to the world, no matter where you are, how good or how bad your situation is, in that world, if you make it, you will have a good time and you will be in a very good position because it will be a positive world, a world which Jesus has programmed to be very pleasant, contrary to the one that we are living in where a lot of shit is happening.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah?
You're right about that. It's definitely a bad... The world we're in right now is definitely
It's not
got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. Anyway, but we are so getting sort of deviated from our topic. So to make a long story short, so there are parallel worlds.
Okay.
Now, a world is not a planet, which means a world needs a planet to exist.
Sure, okay.
So if you would have read Michio Kaku's book, you would have realized that he says every world has its own biological and geological features. For instance, he says that in a parallel world, the animals can and probably will be very different from the ones in our world.
Okay.
Now I ask you, I sent you one segment of my documentary to be.
Okay.
It was called Dragons of This World. Did you see it?
I did not, Rich. Did you send it via email?
I emailed it to you, and I said you should look at it because it's going to explain something to you I'm going to talk about.
Okay, well, I will definitely check it out after the program tonight.
The thing is that I stumbled upon the documentation of the animals of a parallel world. And they look very, very different from the ones that we have in our world. And these are dinosaurs, but they are not the dinosaurs that we know from the fossil finds. It's a different kind of dinosaur.
Well, where did you find this information?
In Acámbaro.
I'm sorry?
In Acámbaro.
Where is that?
In Mexico.
Oh, Mexico. Okay.
Don't you know about Acámbaro?
No, I don't know. I'm
you
sorry.
should. It's anyway. You're going to hear about it on the diskette that I sent you, or the email that I sent you.
Okay. Okay.
And there you have the most amazing animals. And what's even more amazing is that there must have been some kind of a connection between that world and our world, because from that world, some animals made it into our world. And we know them as dragons. And dragons were real. You can see them in monuments all over the world. You have them in every folklore. And when you look at my email, which is a slideshow, you will see dragons from all over the world, and also a lot of different animals that I have taken from that find in Acámbaro and put in connection with the dragons and the animals that we have found in our world.
Okay.
So that's the most amazing thing, and I have not figured out yet how that was possible. So I just can put it up for discussion, but I don't really know what the reason is. But it shows that the animals that are on this email, on this segment, are so radically different from what we have here, with the exception of the dragons who lived in some areas of this world, like in Transylvania, until the Middle Ages. So now I've lost my idea. But what did I want to say? Yeah, they lived this long, but they became extinct because they were killed, because they were very unfriendly. They ate people and livestock and all kinds of things. Okay. In fact, they were so smart when people they even dug up the corpses of people in the graveyard after they were buried. That happened in Carinthia, Austria, where I come from. Anyway.
Oh.
So, to make a long story short, so the worlds that are here between two breakdowns of the electromagnetic field determine what kind of life you have. For instance, if the planet does not turn around an axis, always the same side will face the sun, the climate will always be the same in the same area, and you will not have these horrible winters up north that we have here, or the heat waves we have down here, because you will always have the same equilibrium in climate. Also, And here it gets difficult to understand. Every world has a spiritual component, and the situation in a world will be depending what the spiritual energies have as spiritual patterns for life to be lived in this world. For instance, in our world, we have patterns of violence, war, famine, hunger, gangs, crime, illness. So that's a very bad world. If you believe what Jesus said, in his world, all of this will not be.
Sure.
It will be a different world. It will be a good world of love and peace, not of hatred and violence like ours. Okay, you understand that?
Yeah.
I have a feeling I'm losing you guys.
No. We're listening.
Okay, now, here comes the thing. The world, Michio, as I said, Michio Kaku knows they exist, but he doesn't know how they exist. Well, they exist by materializing on the surface of a planet and staying there for a time. And which means that every world has a specific period of time during which it stays. And when there's another breakdown of the electromagnetic field, it can happen that this one world dematerializes and a different world materializes. And that's what Jesus alluded to. He says, my kingdom is not of this world, but he promised that it will come. And he told what people have to do. God told people what they have to do to be able to make the transition into that world. Remember the Ten Commandments?
Yeah.
Yeah, you follow them and you make it into the other world. Starts to make sense?
Yeah.
Sure.
Because, and here comes the tricky thing, if you have a world, worlds can be programmed spiritually. Now, if worlds are programmed like the ours that we're living in to be a very negative, violent, bad world, that's what life will be like on this planet as long as this world exists, and there's nothing you can do about it. But if you program a new world that's full of harmony, peace, and plenty of sustenance for life, then if you did a good job, this new world will come, and the ones who are able to go to make it there will have a really good life. And that's where the concept of a Messiah or Savior comes in, because the spiritual energies of a world can be programmed, and it takes just one person who has the power to do so, and that one is called, we all know about him, he's God the Almighty. That's why so many people go to church and give him their energies so that he can have the power to do what he promises them, salvation.
Alrighty. And on that note, we're going to take our last break of the night.
I think now you need a break, huh?
Definitely. We're going to take our last break, and then we're going to come back and spar some, Rich. How's that sound?
Okay, you call me back.
All right, we'll call you back, buddy. All right, and you're listening to Rich Anders here on World of the Unexplained. We'll be back after this.
And you're listening to World of the Unexplained. Tonight we have Dr. Rich Anders with us. And if you want to call and talk to Dr. Rich Anders, getting a little tongue-tied, you can contact us at 1-877-722-7382 or 1-877-SCARE-YOU2.
And it's getting scary tonight.
That's right. Or locally, 336-996-1596.
Rich, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just, I'm wondering, though.
What?
You see, Jesus tells us, though, that he's going to come back to this world and do the things with this world when he returns. I mean, that wouldn't. I mean, if he had another world, that would be, something different entirely.
Well, I can tell you what this is about.
Okay.
In order to bring back the other world, Jesus had to come in this world and establish the spiritual mechanism that will make this world go away and the other world come.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he says he's going to come back to this world and change this world.
No, you're mistaken about that. He never said that.
It says the millennial reign, it's going to come back here on this world, at this earth.
Don't believe it. It's not. It's
Anyway, that's just one point of contention. The other one I have is it seems like that, and we've had this discussion before, where you seem to feel that the only reason that Jesus has any power is because people believe in him.
Well, what it is there's a big difference between polytheistic and monotheistic religions. The monotheistic religion that really counts is Christianity, and its brother or sibling religion, Islam, and also another one which is called Zoroastrianism.
Uh-huh.
And there's a little religion called the Baha'i faith.
Well, I'm familiar with that, yeah.
Where people believe that the same spiritual entity was in Zoroaster, Jesus, and Mohammed, and they are correct.
Okay, that's where I'm going to have to disagree with you. But
well, you can disagree as much as you want. It doesn't mean you're right.
well, I know I am.
And it doesn't bother me.
I know it doesn't.
It's your preference. It has nothing to do with reality. Anyway, where's your objection?
Oh, that was it.
That was it?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, in order to bring forth a different world, you have been in the world before. You have to establish the spiritual patterns, which then will bring the other world. And in order to do so, you have to be very powerful with your spiritual energies. And the single person has a problem with that, because a single person usually doesn't have that kind of energy unless he can absorb the energies of millions and billions of people who believe in him, who worship him, who follow him. And that's what religions are for.
Okay. Anyway, well, let's go back to this whole Mayan thing in the 2012. Yeah. How did they pinpoint this date?
Well, Mayans are not the primitive little Mayans that you have right now in the round huts with thatch roof, etc. When there was an invasion from space 6,000 years ago, one clan of gods came to Central and South America. And
this was the Aztecs?
What?
Is this what you were talking about before with the Aztecs?
Yeah, but the Aztecs are latecomers. The Mayans, you may not know this, there were two, in Mayan cultures, there were two kind of people, and they even spoke different languages. One were called the aristocrats and the class of priests, and the other were called the commoners. And the aristocrats and the priests were invaders from space, and they were very much advanced. And they knew about these things much more than we know. And their calendar is very precise, and it points that December 21st, 2012, is precisely the day when you have this famous alignment of the sun in the center of our galaxy, of our solar system, with the center of the galaxy, and that's a good time for changes of worlds to happen. And for instance, the last time we were there, 26,000 years ago, the world of the Neanderthals disappeared, and the humans came into being.
So, I mean, 26,000 every 26,000 years. Then is this thing happens.
Well, it happens much. It happens every 26,000 years, only if there's no asteroid hit or no really major volcanic eruption. If you would blow up Yellowstone tomorrow, you would have a change of worlds tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Definitely.
See? So, but I can keep, from what I've seen, the ones that I have traced so far, because they're not easy to trace, is that we had this one event 67 million years ago when the world of the big dinosaurs dematerialized and the world of the measly mammals came. We have another one that we know for sure, that I believe for sure, is the world of the Neanderthals, which disappeared 26 years ago. We have the world of the megafauna, which disappeared 10,000 years ago. Then there was another event 6,000 years ago. And you have a change of world, and the last one was 3,500 years ago, when the volcano Thera in the Mediterranean exploded. So the worlds don't stay on the planet too long. In short intervals they become exchanged.
So no Christmas on 2012.
I don't think so.
Wonder what the election will be like.
What?
Oh, he was making a joke. What the election will be like
in 2012?
Well, I don't know. I'm not a political prophet.
I know. I was just poking fun. That's all.
So, so what do you plan on doing then in December 2012, Rich?
Me?
Yeah.
I'll lead the exodus towards the positive dimension of the kingdom of Jesus.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll be right on top of it.
Okay. Well, good stuff. So we've got this cataclysmic event that's going to reshape the world in 2012.
It's not going to reshape this world. It's going to utterly destroy it. If you stay in this world, you're done.
So once the polar shift happens, you're saying then there's not going to be any life left at all.
Well, if what I got to know through my contacts happens, then this world will be totally destroyed and there will be no life left.
Okay, well, what happens if you're wrong? What happens if 2012 comes and goes and it's Christmas 2012 and nothing happened?
Well, I'll be pissed.
Well, I mean, what do you do then? I mean, do you rethink your idea? Do you rethink, what do you do?
I don't even think of it. For me, that's it. And I'll live up to that period, that point of time. And if that point of time disappoints me, then I'll just rearrange my thoughts.
Okay.
I'm flexible.
Okay, fair enough.
But I can give you a hint. So because I don't know whether you want to talk to me or after all the things I told you today, but I can give you a clue. If you at that day, from one moment to the next, find yourself in a totally different environment with different plants, which are very, very beautiful, where trees have blooms and fruits at the same time, and you see some peaceful dinosaurs grazing around, you know you've made it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because the next world will be a world of dinosaurs, but not the carnivorous ones. Allegedly, it's going to be the nice ones. And I just hope that's right.
No, I hope they don't accidentally step on any of us. Then.
So are we supposed to, I guess, like commingle with these dinosaurs or whatever? We're supposed to live, cohabitate with them?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so, because you can see if you look at the Acambaro segment I sent you, you can see there are even pictures or representations of dinosaurs having sex with human females.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I'm not kidding. It's on it.
You talk about taking a big one.
All right.
I told you, those are not the big dinosaurs that we know from fossil finds. These are different ones. They're small and cuddly.
Oh, small and cuddly dinosaurs. Okay.
Like in the TV show Dinotopia.
What?
Well, never mind.
What?
Oh my God! He said like in a TV show.
There's a TV program. It's called Dinotopia.
I saw it.
Oh my gosh! Really? I've never seen it.
Yes, and that's where humans and dinosaurs commingle, cohabitate.
No, the Disney Channel had it.
Okay.
I liked it very much.
All right. Well, Rich, we're gonna let you go. Tell everybody where to get to your website at.
Well, you just send me an email when I can download the other one, okay?
Oh, we'll do that. Where can we go visit your website at for all the listeners?
All our listeners.
You visit my website. I haven't done anything for my website for many months. I was too busy.
Okay.
There's nothing new there, but I would like to have my other interview downloaded because, there were some interesting things we talked about.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's fine.
Definitely. We'll have that available soon. Well, thank you so much for being on the program tonight, Rich.
Yeah, okay, pleasure.
All right, take care, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And that was Dr. Rich Anders, Dinosaurs Mating with Humans. Interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, so anyone out there listening and wants to give us a call, 877-722-7382. It's kind of a slow night tonight.
Yeah. It's kind of quiet in here.
It is.
It's 1-877-SCARE-YOU-2 or locally 336-996-1596. Or if you'd just like to call and chat about anything that's going on, 2012, what your thoughts are.
Dinosaur sex.
No, not dinosaur sex, but thank you anyway. See, I think there's a lot of hype going on with the whole 2012 thing.
Yeah, there has been for a while.
But I think it's going to be the exact same thing that happened
Y2K.
in Y2K.
It's going to come up. Everybody's going to be like, oh my gosh, we're going to sell everything they own. This is the time, guys, to buy your junk on eBay. right before 2012 hits because everybody's going to sell their stuff.
True.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
There's going to be people. It's going to be worse than the whole Hell Bop thing when the people bought the sneakers.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah,
I
or
remember that.
like some of the old time stuff where the guys would be like, "Oh, Jesus is coming at 12 noon on such and such a day," and all the people got in white robes and went to the certain mountaintop. And
Or it's like the people that
doesn't happen.
the aliens were supposed to come and they all got on top of the buildings and whatever else, and
Nothing happened.
I'll worry about it when it
happens. Yeah, we got here, but I think it's going to be one of those things. It's just going to be one of those moments. It's going to come. It's going to come. It's going to come. Boom. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing at all.
Hey man, what's going on?
Bottom line, nothing. Bunch of nothing.
All right, hold on a second.
Think we got a caller.
Yeah.
RPH.
Yeah, RVH.
RPH. Ron Paul Hunter from Raleigh, North Carolina. What's going on, brother?
Hey Jay, what's going on, man? How you guys tonight?
No, we're doing good, man. We're doing good. Did you catch any of the show?
Yeah, a little bit, man. I was catching some G's, jumped up and talked some of Dr. Rich Andrews, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Rich Andrews.
Right. What is he? Was the doctor of again?
I don't remember what his degree's in, actually.
Okay. All right.
It's been a while. We've had him on several times.
It was tough to say how to do some of that stuff. I've been doing a little bit of work on the stuff that I originally started with you guys with, which were some of the dreams that I had a long time ago, and it found some other people. So the progress on the book thing is definitely coming along. Hopefully, in 6 days or less, we'll have something in possible hands that you can actually read.
Hey Ron, is there any way you can turn up your phone or anything?
We can barely hear you.
I don't know if I've damaged.
Oh, that's good.
There you go. That's
good.
better.
Okay, but I got to stick the thing right in my mouth. It's going to sound like I'm kissing it,
Yeah, but the other way we can't hear you.
Yeah, we can barely hear you.
Gotcha. All right, we'll keep on trucking.
There,
There
that's
we go.
much
That's
better.
good. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's on the speakerphone. Is that better?
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay, well, the only way I can hear you guys is through the speakerphone. As long as that's not dicey, it's okay with me if it's okay with you.
Yeah, that's
Fine
fine.
with us.
Okay, man.
So what are your thoughts on the whole 2012 thing?
The whole 2012 thing, I've thought this through, and I've been trying to write about it just in the last couple of days. From the Christian point of view, the way I see it, and the way I'm trying to get other people to see it, is that the events that go with all of the stuff is tied up for me in the book of Revelation. And I don't know that much about, I know the Mayan calendar says that there will come some, it's almost like a way of saying they have to leave where they are. And there's a lot of things like Stitchin, I think, the 12th Planet guy. Do you remember that one?
The what?
The what?
He had a book called like the 12th Planet, I think. He was one of the first guys to talk about the ancient legends and things like that. He had references to how. Well, the only thing I was remembering, this was in reference to like Central America, was that there was a reference that I believe stated that there were people living in somewhat elaborate houses, and they lived inside their houses, and beside them were the young couples that were the newlyweds, which were in small log cabins. And the destruction of the events, associated with something like 2012, were such that the elaborate houses caved in on the occupants and killed them. But the smaller houses, which were much more simple, were they were spared in them because they were interlocking and they were able to withstand seismic activity, stuff like that. Is to be, if you're going to do something or think about preparation, think about two things. The first thing is what people refer to in Revelations, or what I would say, and what I'm trying to study and put into book form, is that it's an event sequence. Like, it's just something that happens. It's a series of natural events, and it's based it's an event sequence that was foretold of a long time ago by a prophet of God to prove that Jesus is the Son of God. So that's why if you see this event sequence coming to life in front of you, you should be happy, because that's saying the time when Jesus will be back on the earth. And the earth could change. It could literally be moved somewhat slightly from its orbit and be in a new orbit. That would change the rotation of the earth.
Oh yeah.
And there's things that could make that happen. But I guess I'm dragging my feet a little bit. The point was, once the event sequence starts, you're supposed to put your faith in Jesus and go do civil defense and try to pretend like you're at camp or something, basically. Share food, go to church and pray every day, go out and work and try to grow some food every day, something like that. If there were to be a big disaster, that's what Jesus would want you to do, and then try to feed the children first every day and keep them alive first. If you do things like that, those are something, you have to tell people something that a family can actually sink their teeth into and say, yeah, I can see that happening. We can at least try to make that happen. You can't just tell people to, to group to the spiritual energy, because that could mean anything to anyone. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, right on. Well, I mean, I didn't want to steamroll the show, but...
No.
No, you're fine, man.
Well, that's cool.
But
I don't know. I think a lot of it's in the presentation, and a lot of it is like, it just takes years to hone your mental viewpoint of what you think religion is, to be able to understand it from something that a lot of it's very personal. It's like everybody says when you say in Christianity, when we talk and Jesus is between us, it means right between us, like he's standing right there, watching and listening to everything we say, and he wants us to put him in that conversation. So,
sure. Oh.
When you talk of someone to see Jesus, the two big things were: be ready to have to, bust out of your house or something, which isn't designed to withstand any seismic activity at all. And the event sequence I'm looking at is like a combination of a bunch of things, like a earthquake, a tornado, a volcanic eruption with a lot of ash and soot, and then like a tsunami, all rolled into one, which makes it so devastating because it strikes everything at once. So, I'm talking about getting with churches and denominations and having people spend their spare time. People used to make quilts because it got cold and people could freeze to death. Well, if you come into a big event like this, you want to make tents or an inflatable building. It's something that one church probably can't do. 2 or 3 churches might not be able to do, but if you could figure a way to get 10 or 15 churches together, I guarantee you they'll figure out how to do it, and they'll have a pretty good time, because if you can get 10 or 15 churches together, you can throw on some music and some food. That's basically all it is. It's giving people the excuse to go out and do that and not be scared to do that or not feel uncomfortable to do that. It'll be fun if people just get together. It's about, it's almost like people are scared to say, hey, let's do that. We can all just say we're Christians and, hey, let's do that. And there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Sure. No, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm saying that. We should say that.
All right. Well, Ron, thanks, buddy, for calling in. We're gonna head out of here.
Nail it, guys. God bless you. I'll talk to you again.
All right, man.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later.
See you, man.
Later.
And that was Rob Paul Hunter from Raleigh,
North Carolina.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna sign off early tonight.
Oh, whoa.
I don't know. I just I don't have anything to say.
You should let the producer know.
I'm sorry. I just don't have anything else to say tonight. Did that ever happen to you?
Huh?
Does that ever happen to you? Just don't have any, I'm just at a loss for words.
Yeah, that's fine, man.
Well, guys, we'll see you next week. Hopefully the whole crew here. We're a little disappointed that we haven't been able to get the whole crew in here for a few weeks now. But anyway, hopefully everything will pan out next week and tune right in. Same bat time, same bat channel, all that good jazz. You're listening to World of the Unexplained. This is Jay Scott, your only JDDJ on the Omni Sound Radio 1 network.
This is D. Clements saying, we'll see you guys next week.
I thought you were going to do that World of the Psychic, Bill Murray. And then.
No.
Night, guys.